Usually, people say that if you go to an individual who is successful in his life and ask them how did they even become successful, how did they even do this, they will simply reply you in simple words, or they respond you stating, I was just fortunate and there was a hard work, I did it and people liked it. That's how I am successful and that's how I grew up. But if you go ask an individual who was unsuccessful in his life and who has lost all his money or all his assets or all his whatever he's gained through business or maybe through work or whatever it is, they will literally guide you in almost everything and provide you a numerous pieces of advice regarding what to do and what not to do, and they will literally help you to become a successful person. So today we are going to discuss a very successful and a wealthy man who, after making a single decision that was just a normal decision or something that he wanted to ask, he literally fell off, or he was literally vanished in the list of the richest people in the world. Hi people, welcome to the podcast. This film titled Guru, where Abhishek Bachchan plays a petrol bunk worker who later becomes a industrialist and rich like Ratan Tata after few years. The narrative mainly revolves around the life of Dhirubhai Ambani. Although Dhirubhai Ambani's life may not have started the way it did, but he was ranked as the 130th richest person in the world. Later on, he was managing his Reliance company, which were divided into groups, which had many businesses under Reliance. He passed away in 2000, but his net worth while his death was 75,000 crores. Now, here's the twist. Reliance company has many subgroups and it's a very large scale company back then. Now also it is, but people were shocked who's going to manage such a big business, such a big company. But he had two sons. They are Anil Ambani and Mukesh Ambani. They were close before his death, his father's death, but they lost some of their unity after his death. Reliance is a collection of enterprises such as Reliance Phone, then Reliance Infrastructure, Reliance Services, Reliance Retail, and a lot more. Now, while these brothers were fighting, their mother decides, okay, let me call the auditors and the legal team, divide up the business between them. And Anil Ambani, without doing literally nothing, where the property or the business that was divided between the brothers, he was ranked the 6th richest person in the world. In response to the questions asked to Anil Ambani by the media, how do you even become so wealthy? His reply was within just a few words, stating, as I mentioned in the introduction, my father's business was divided to me and that's how I am rich. In a very brief statement. He later on went on to inspire a great deal of people, leading the most luxurious life and operate his own movie theaters, which was named as Big Cinemas, along with being a member of parliament as well. He inked a deal with the director of Jurassic Park to produce 6 Hollywood movies, some of which went on to win Oscars, which I saw this, read it, and it was unbelievable for me. In the midst of all this, Bollywood actor, a star, that is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, was questioned, who's the celebrity you prefer, whom you like, except you. He literally named Anil Ambani, giving a statement that Anil Ambani is like my brother. So that's how Anil Ambani was, literally living a very lavish life. The luxury he had. I read this one more thing where his office and his house, the distance between his office and his house was literally almost around 20 kilometers. He used to travel by chopper, which was owned by him. And he had additionally, telling to all this, he married a Bollywood actress named Tina Munnim. And during all these years of all this was going on, his brother Mukesh Ambani was neither not well known or not at all involved in all this luxurious life or being named as, okay, here's a businessman who's living, a news comes up about Mukesh Ambani stating Mukesh Ambani is developing the identical 7-story building which is valued about 4,500 crores, and Anil Ambani literally built another building which is almost around 4,500 crores, competing his brother. Now later in few months, Anil Ambani files a lawsuit in court claiming that the gas price Dhirubhai Ambani promised is not the price that is actually been sold. But here is the twist. Mukesh Ambani wins the case, stating that this was quoted 10 years before and this was Anil Ambani's first fail. Subsequently, on December 27, 2015, Mukesh Ambani introduced something called Jio as a beta program for partners and staff. And later on, in December 15, the program became public, where he used to give free SIM cards as well as provide free internet, like around 1.5 GB per day, 2 GB per day, which I think many people, we literally stood in queues and bought those SIM cards. At this moment, when Jio was booming, Anil Ambani's Reliance Communication, which had a capital of 1,65,000 crores, it literally dropped to zero and the company was completely bankrupt. Subsequently, he stole nearly all of his firm group of companies and he acquired a shipbuilding company, naming it as Reliance Naval Engineering. He paid 7,000 crores to buy the shipbuilding company. I don't want to name the company. Later on, few months later, that business went on loss and he suffered significant losses on whatever he was trying to do, and he sold the Reliance Naval Engineering, the shipbuilding company, which was bought for 7,000 crores. He sold it for 700 crores. The only business he had left after suffering numerous losses was Reliance Power, and keeping that in mind, he also sold Reliance Power to Adani and that became Adani. Now, Anil Ambani was also in debt with a well-known bank, that is Yes Bank, for 12,000 crores, which he later on sold almost all his assets and then repaid it. And there was remaining almost around 700 to 800 crores, which he had to pay to the bank. In the court, when they asked him, how are you gonna pay all this? He literally mentioned, I do not have anything, assets or money to pay you back. And that is not yet been paid is what I have seen or read according to my research. But let me see. If I get a clear information about this, I will let you know in the next video, next podcast, or please let me know in the commentary what was the real story of Anil Ambani being bankrupt and not to be seen at all. Now, Reliance is no more a company is what they say, which some of the part of Reliance companies, which was divided to the brothers by his mother and the auditors as well as the legal advisors. Some which is owned by Mukesh Ambani is still there, but there is something called his own brand which he created, stating Jio, something called Jio. The Jio has many. You have the shopping, fashion, they have retails, they have industries called Jio. Now there's something called Jio Fiber that has come up. So the only takeaway in this podcast or the information which I'm giving you right now is Anil Ambani wanted to look successful and Mukesh Ambani wanted to be successful. This is what is the takeaway for me in this information that I've gathered. Because I thought of many information I gather, so I thought I would share this with y'all. That is the reason I've started the podcast. If you think this podcast was informative and also you felt okay, there's some information I am gathering from this, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you. See you in my next podcast.